Hi everyone, my name is Liza and today I'm going to go over 5 books that I read in order to buy 1 book. So if you guys don't know, I am doing a challenge for 2023 where I read 5 of my own books before I buy 1 book, and in March I got kind of crazy and a little bit carried away and I bought a bunch of books, but I'm gonna say that's like a separate thing. That's like a little present for myself. So I am still trying to do the challenge, and hopefully April and onwards I am able to minimize my spending a little bit still. But let's go over the 5 books, and I want to say that I am pretty proud of myself because I am, you know, prioritizing my book of the month picks a lot, and so I think total I have read 9 books so far, which is really good. I do have about 20 more to go. I read Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I think initially I gave this 4 stars, but looking back I put it down to 3 because I feel like it's not that memorable. And the twist, I mean, I felt like the twist was kind of odd. You have this family who lives in this like weird island that's like very magical and things like that, and something happened a long time ago. There's a young woman who was murdered or died in suspicious circumstances. And so one of the people who everyone blamed it on, right? August Salt, he was the one who was accused of murdering this best friend. And so he and his family were run off the island, and then years later he comes back to bury his mom in this island where, you know, their family was from. And so there's a lot in this book about like their past, the family's past, like their ancestors and stuff like that. I just felt like, you know, we're trying to figure out what happened to the best friend, and at the end when it was revealed I was like, how come they didn't think about this? Like I don't know, I don't want to spoil too much, but I thought that was odd. And I don't know, I just feel like compared to the books that I read recently, this was just okay. I did enjoy it at the time, it's just not as good as the other ones that I've read. So let's get into those. So I gave it a 3 stars. Let's see. Next one I want to go over is X's and O's. I kind of had to break up all these mysteries with a romance, and this was perfect. X's and O's. This is book 2 in the series. So the first one is Set on You, and so this follows another couple, like people we were introduced to in the first book. Tara is the sister of the girl to the first book, and Trevor is co-workers with the guy in the first book. So, you know, we are still seeing some of the old characters, but this is totally just their story, and it's so cute. Tara, she's a nurse. I think she works in the NICU. I may be remembering this wrong, but anyway, she also is a big romance buff. This is kind of like an ode to all of the book lovers out there. So she has her own channel. She has her own book collection at home. She loves like bookshelves and things like that. I don't know. It's just so crazy because I'm sure a lot of people can see themselves in her too. Like, you know, you have your main job and whatever, but your biggest hobby is books. And so that's her. Something happens. I think she finds out that her grandmother actually had a second chance romance with someone that she knew from a long time ago. And so she, since her love life is kind of meh, you know, not really good, she is trying to look at all of her exes and see if she can, you know, meet up with them or talk to them again and see if something happens, like if a sparks fly again. And so she makes a long list, and she ends up living with Trevor because I think she gets kicked out of Crystal, her sister's place, and so they just kind of swap, right? So she's now living with Trevor. Their meet cute is like so awkward but so hilarious at the same time, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so funny. So yeah, so they're roommates, and eventually they become really good friends, and he's helping her out with like trying to find the love of her life and these second chances and stuff like that. But it's so obvious that they are getting feelings for each other, and it's so darn cute. This is like my favorite friends to lovers book ever, and it's up there with Josh and Hazel. What else? What is another? Like The Guide to Being Just Friends is also my favorite friends to lovers too, but this is like quite possibly my favorite. Who knows? I'll have to read Josh and Hazel again. I just feel like I put that book on a pedestal for so long. Who knows if I still like it that much, but yes, I loved it. 5 stars. Let's see. The next one I want to talk about is The Soulmate. I also gave this 5 stars. It was a good reading month. This one is about a couple. I don't even know what their name is anymore. So you have Gabe and Pipa. They have 2 daughters together. They live on like this crazy mountain cliff area where a lot of rich people live, and they're like, you know what, we'll never afford any place like that, we can't live there. But if they find out that they can actually afford it, so they move there. And if they find out that the place is actually affordable because this place is known for people committing suicide, and so even though they know that, they're still living there. And Gabe is always trying to save people from jumping off the ledge, and he has been doing so. I think he's saved like 7 people and things like that. But this one night they see a woman out there, and so he's like, all right, people, can you call the police? I'm just gonna go out there and do my thing. And this is like the first time he's not able to save the person. Slowly you see that he actually knew this person, so there's like weird secrets going on, and it's like very suspicious. Like, were you really not able to save this person, or did you push them off to like hide a secret or something? So it's crazy. I mean, I loved it so much because it's really about these soulmates, and it's like a hint of a love story in there, and I loved it. Yes. 5 stars. My first Sally Hepworth book. And so let me know if I should read any of her other books. I know that, you know, from looking at the titles of her books, it looks like she writes mostly domestic thrillers, but I love this one. I gave it 5 stars. Let's see. I read The Last Party by Claire McIntosh, and I also gave this 5 stars. This is actually a first of a series. So it is a Fionn Morgan series. Fionn Morgan is the name of the DCI, or the investigator. So basically you have this big lake, and it's like in the middle of the border between Wales and England. This is the big lake here. And so there's this like New Year's Eve party, and then the next day, New Year's Day, turns out like there's a dead body floating up in here. So that person is like one of the prominent people here on the shore, and obviously we're trying to figure out who killed him. And the line here is, at midnight one of them is dead, by morning all of them are suspects. And that is just seriously so true, because you get the backstories of all the people who live around here, and seriously everyone could have some sort of motive for killing this guy. This guy is like not the best guy. He is a really sucky guy. He's a sucky person, and so he's done stuff in his life that, you know, can make a lot of people want to kill him. And when you go through all these different point of views, you realize like, okay, that person probably would have killed him too. So there's alternating point of views. One, you know, during the investigation between Fionn Morgan, and she actually teams up with this guy, Leo. So he's like the DCI of England territory, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But they have to team up together because there's like different territories involved. So they have to team up. And so yes, it's alternating point of views between them and then like the characters in the show itself. So I really liked it. It's funny how like Leo and Fionn got started together before they teamed up. So things are a little bit tense and awkward, and I loved it. It was so funny to read. I just really hope that the second in the series, which the author already announced that it's coming out in June or July, like sometime in the summer, I hope that the second book also has Leo in it, because I love them two together. But it is called the Fionn Morgan series. Yeah, I loved it. And I'm so surprised because it took me a while to pick this up. This is just like a generic mystery thriller cover. Like there's always a house in the dark, right? It doesn't scream anything special, but I really like this book. So I'm glad I finally picked it up. And then the last one I want to talk about is What Lies Between Us. I read this book for the podcast. I'll link their channel down below, but this was their pick for March, and I finally read it. I was just a little bit behind because I got like sidetracked with like this book hobby. I started bookbinding, but anyways, that's a separate thing. So yeah, I read it, and it's just so crazy. Like from the synopsis, I didn't realize the relationship of these two women together, but it says Nina can never forgive Maggie for what she did, and she can never let her leave. So Nina has Maggie like trapped up in the, I'm imagining the attic, like chained up, right? And she only comes down like twice a week for meals. But we're like, why is Nina trapping Maggie up there? Did she do something crazy? What's going on? And so I thought that these two girls were sisters, but they're actually like mother and daughter. So a lot of shit happens in this book, and it's really effed up and twisted, and I thought I knew what was going on, but then it totally like twisted around, and it's like, oh, okay, crazy. It's like something else. But it's really tragic learning about the backstories of these women. But yeah, it just kept me on the edge of my seat all the way through until the end. So I gave it 4 stars because I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it's not something that like wowed me and kept me thinking about it days on afterwards. So it was still enjoyable. All right, so that's the 5 books that I read, and the book that I bought is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. So this is a romance book. Lynn Painter, I think she writes adult and YA romance, but I think this one is actually, I'm hoping it's adults. Let's see, Haley Piper is turning over a new leaf. She decides it's time to become a full-on adult. She gets a new apartment, a new haircut, a new wardrobe, but when she logs onto the dating app that she has determined will find her new love, she sees none other than Jack Marshall, the guy whose room she snuck out of. Interesting. Okay, after agreeing they are absolutely not interested in each other, Jack and Haley realize they are each other's perfect wing person in their searches for the one. They text about their dates, often scheduling them at the same restaurant so that things don't go well. The two of them can go to eat tacos afterward. Spoiler, they get a lot of tacos together. Discouraged by the lack of prospects, Jack and Haley make a wager to see who can find true love first. But when they agree to be fake dates for a weekend wedding, all bets are off. This kind of reminds me of Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, because they're like trying to find the one for them, but they're like dating kind of next to each other on their own dates, but then they fall in love with each other. I don't know, it reminds me of that. And so I really needed a romance to break me out of this thriller. Like, I love thrillers, but sometimes I just need a break from it because there's too much murder and lies and deceit and trauma. So yes, I'm hoping I will like this one. All right, let's see here. These are the 5 books that I read, and this is the book that I bought. So yes, hopefully from April onwards, I will be on a good track for my reading challenge, the 2023 Read 5 and Then Buy challenge. And yeah, thank you so much guys for watching again today. I will see you next time. Bye.